Hello everybody, this is the Historical Gamer once again, and today we're returning to part 2 of our look at a sneak peek of Battleplan, a map-based war game, a real-time war game, that puts you in the shoes of kind of a corps commander in World War II during the Normandy campaign. This is the Battle of Cherbourg. It's really our first attempt to try and win a real battle as opposed to sort of a tutorial battle. We've been cautious. We kind of had a little bit of a mess the first few days. Maybe overcautious since then. This was taken from a live stream on my Twitch channel, but this is an upcoming game from Slytherin and Matrix. I don't have a release date yet, but yeah, an interesting World War II game that we're taking a look at here today. Please feel free to leave your thoughts below, and let's jump back into this thing as we look to start to really push into the enemy lines. Okay, so we're going to give it one more day. Those armored troops are pulling off the line, as you can see. Hopefully that doesn't cause the line to cave in. They're going to rest and refit. We'll move the 4th armored up here to rest and refit too. Line is a little less stable without those armored units here. Little bit of an enemy push up here. Infantry's not quite strong enough, I don't think. But it's all setting itself up for the assault tomorrow. I don't want the guards to be, like, out of supply before we go into a major thrust. Or have them lose 800 men as POWs. So if we've got to take a little bit of a squishy front line on the right flank to open it up for tomorrow, we will. And that's still, like, the infantry got into position. It still seems like things are mostly where they were at the start of the day. Left flank, the enemy's not doing much as far as I can tell. We're holding in position. Right flank, a little bit more heavy fighting, but things are still roughly where they started just 3 days ago. I'm not pushing anywhere yet, Mommy. I got pushed back on the left, attacked there, got an armored division pretty badly trounced. Spent about 2 days trying to fix things. You can see the I'm assuming that's what these represent here as casualties. But it's a lot. 287 casualties on mine yesterday, 500 on the enemy end. Alright, so the armored is, I mean, as rested as it's gonna be. These guys got their supply up. Everybody's supply is where it needs to be. So we're going to do, rather than a breakthrough attack, which is vulnerable on the flanks, they don't stay and hold, you just try and punch a hole. Actually, you know what we could do? With the 4th. We're going to launch a breakthrough to Valgos. I don't know if friendly fire is a thing we gotta worry about. Launch a breakthrough with them. This might be a little too ambitious, but we're gonna try to turn the enemy position with the guards armored here. We'll see if the infantry can maybe push forward a little bit with a hold the line order. Alright, let's see how this goes. I don't like the idea of a breakthrough attack personally, but figured we'd try it out. Break through the enemy with the weaker armored division. Try to seize the ground with the stronger armored division. I would guess if you're a little bit more into details than I am, the way that you can set units to wait for designated times for certain orders could really appeal to you nuts and, you know, you rivet counters, or I don't know what the right term is. Sticklers for detail? Alright, so we did actually move through and take this town with the armored division that was ordered on the breakthrough assault. Got a little bit of a potential gap here. 6 enemy units captured. We did have 1 unit surrender. We've got 20 units cut off from supply. This is like a front line that keeps getting squishy, going back and forth. Actually, it looks like they are pushing it back, so they may get these boys back into supply. Okay, so we said 234 enemy POWs, 84 of our own, 519 losses of our own, 1,600 for the enemy. So I'd say that was pretty good result. Armored on the left, or infantry on the left, still holding in place. Enemy on the right, getting pushed in a little bit. Gonna try and turn around and maybe envelop some of these guys, I guess, with the 4th Armored. You know what'd be fun is trying to drive west and cut off this whole enemy line, but I think that's a little bit beyond our strength right now. Okay. There are enemy troops in here. Do we need to change these orders? Like, these guys are mostly surrounded, but maybe I'm not. I don't know, we'll see. Trying to drive these guys into the water. Our own supply situation's a bit of a mess. But we did capture several enemy units there. 4th Armor's sort of reverse breakthroughs, pushing back. Left flank still looks pretty good. I don't know if I should be pushing more here. The enemy still has positions here. It's kind of static warfare. But the enemy definitely looks like they still have a good number of troops there on the left. 4th Armored's all gathered here, to really ready for another assault. They're in position. We are getting close to Cherbourg. We're doing this with a little bit more discipline than last time around. Okay. 300 losses on our own, 1,100 enemy with 200 POWs. The 200 POWs we can at least be assured is real. Alright, let's do a new seize or a new complex attack order for these guys. This is a wide area to seize as we try to push towards Cherbourg, so maybe we should... Alright, the 4th Armored, we're going to switch you guys around from being on breakouts to being on a complex attack. And you're going to be ordered to kind of help turn the enemy out of their positions on the southern flank. Okay, 3rd Canadian's still going to have the same hold the line orders. Alright, let's see how this works. We'll have the armor follow, or the infantry follow the armor thrust in the north up tomorrow if it succeeds. And maybe the 4th Armor can push the enemy flank in here a bit, come around what I'm assuming are more dug-in positions here. Right flank here along the water is a little bit of a concern. I don't know how much of that is just zones of control. I don't see a lot of red in there. Strictly speaking, I also did order the 4th Armored, or the Guards Armored to take along there. Okay. Some units are out of supply. 6 enemy units captured. 34 units of mine cut off from supply. I am not very good. 51 units. I am not very good at managing my own supply situation. You can see the tons an hour being used and consumed on here. I'm just bad at managing that. But 51 units cut off from supply could be a problem if that stays as is. 300 casualties lost for us, almost 1,000 enemy with another 500 nearly captured. The captured is what I'm looking for. That's... I can't do anything with new depots, though, because we've got the max number of depots placed. Alright, with these troops down here ordered to hold the line, and with the armor coming out on the enemy flank, are the enemies still maintaining a large force to our front? That might be something we can push back. Third Infantry looks in good shape. Right, now that the armor is attacking the enemy on the flank, let's do a complex attack. That might be too large a swath of ground we're trying to take. We'll see. Then you guys need to try and... I don't know if the better order is seize ground, if there's not that many enemy troops around here. Alright, so we're down to 17 units cut off from supply. We'll see how these new orders affect the line. 4th Armored attack is actually done. Captured another enemy supply depot, so we're up to 6 out of 4. More enemy units are surrendering. We're trying to push forward here in the south. Another depot cap. No, that was just, never mind. 5 enemy captured, 2 enemy captured. They're pushing forward here to seize this ground, but they're not leveling things out as well as I'd like. The seize ground attack really does make things less stable. And so does the complex attack for that matter. 20 units are now cut off from supply. They've done this attack. Three units surrendered. Not great. Alright. 522 enemy troops captured. So, like, even though we are having troops get cut off and surrounded and surrendering, the enemy surrendered seem to be worse. 5,000 out of that division still, numbers-wise, good. And the casualties are heavy for some of these guys, but not necessarily unsustainable. We could really set this division to a hold ground order, perhaps. Okay. Okay. I almost wonder if we should let these guys rest. They don't have much supply left. They're going to need to rest to push forward further. Just a question of what my setting these infantry units to hold the line will do to the actual front line where we've pushed forward here. Because I've ordered both armored divisions to rest and refit. Alright. At least on a map-wise, there's this little pocket along the coast. But in theory, I would expect these guys to get themselves back in supply. They've established a front line. They've ringed things out. I don't think these guys would have any supply. Only one was destroyed. Is that an enemy unit destroyed or one of mine? Doesn't have my unit icon. Oh, now we're cut off again, I guess. These roadways, I assume, are important for the way supplies flow up. It certainly looks like they are to me. I've kind of set a cordon here. So maybe there's some enemy units behind the lines that are cut off, but at least my 2 armored units are now resting and refitting. 300 casualties today, 700 enemy. We'll keep the left flank division here on the line. Actually, these guys need another day. They're only recovered about half their supply. So we'll let another day pass of trying to secure this front line. It looks like, based on the blue highlighted areas, that our boys have set up sort of a loose front line here. This division and this division. Either the enemy units behind the lines surrendered just now, or I'm not sure what, but it certainly seems more empty than it had been in the past. I don't know how many enemy troops are left. I'm sure this is not a textbook way of how to play the game, but it is better for what this is worth. It is better than my first attempt live a few weeks ago. I'm much more conservative. I'm feeling feels like I understand Monty. Okay, so both divisions have their cordons. By setting up this line, I may have given the enemy an opportunity, but they're pretty sparsely. They're holding this left pretty sparsely. It looks like only 40 casualties. Wow. All right, this feels light on the left. To that end. Seize ground is the command to use when the enemy seems to be weak. Seize that ground. And then you'll have a hold the line order here with a much shorter front line. Hold in place here. To support that, there are enemy troops around here. This division is going to be given a breakthrough attack order. Right through that enemy position. Combat air patrol needs to rest. Guards armor is not fully replenished yet. But clear this line up to there. A little bit of enemy salient. Let's do this. I just want you to blast these enemy units here that are causing this issue. So just run right through them. Captured another depot there in that attack. Are you seizing the ground on the left? Are you pushing the enemy back? We lost that depot back. Well, he's kind of strong on our right flank there. Captured the depot back. But we are advancing on the left. Seize ground orders being followed. 4th Armored, I think, helped unbuckle the enemy line a little bit. Keep that seize ground order. Probably for another day. We've got 7 days left on this mission. 6 after today. Guards armored supply is not good. Alright, 300 losses on ours, 900 on the enemy, another 260 captured. Okay. We're doing things a little bit bigger now. Guards armor, your supply's pretty weak, so just hang there for now. Alright, let's see how today goes. Taking a little bit of a bigger swing, getting the infantry involved in a complex attack. 4th Armored hopefully coming up to try and break the enemy left flank a little bit, maybe? Or cut itself off. But seize ground order on the left, still going pretty well. Looks like they're going to get to that line today or tomorrow. Right flank's a little bit less successful at the moment. We got 2 armored divisions and kind of this salient pointing right at Cherbourg. Problem is, I think their supply is bad. We got a little bit better today. 4th Armored obviously didn't. Okay, 485 enemy troops surrendered again. No, we shouldn't do that because that's not... Alright, infantry take the right flank. Armor supply is still too weak. Alright. Main assault will begin in a day or two. I'm hoping the armor up there gets in better supply here, as maybe the infantry secures the line on their right and left. But there's plenty of supply by the looks of it moving up to this front line here. A little bit of bulge here. Hold the line order might actually surround some of these German units, although there's some concentrations here that probably won't just go away. Great. Fourth armor supply is not... Oh, it's a little better than it was. This hold the line order, I wonder if it has the same effect as a encircle order, because we've got troops in behind them. I don't think the enemy can move supplies down here. There might be a depot there. But we've got blue power markers here. So I think these enemy troops are going to be in trouble. Although maybe they're trying to escape. You can see they're trying to... It looks like they're trying to break out. Okay, almost 300 casualties on our end, 600 on the enemy end. We'll keep holding on the left here. On the right, it does look like that C's ground order is unfolding. Armored supply is a little better. The problem is these guys are like holding the line. What I'd like to do, shift these guys off this order. Switch it over to a hold the line order. Then we can issue an order for these guys to refit. Although a 2 armored division assault tomorrow. And I think we'll probably get to Cherbourg. If we break through with 2 armored divisions, we'll probably get to Cherbourg like the next day. See if the enemy tries to push forward here. I'm hoping they don't and give my infantry division time to redeploy. I don't know how much offensive power the enemy has left. There's still a little bulge here near Ribbeck or whatever on our left flank. I've given up trying to clear out the right flank, and really it's just about kind of having this little... It's not even really a jumping off point anymore. It's not like it's a salient that we can just push through. By the looks of it, it's pretty much leveled off now. These infantry divisions have done a good job of flattening this line out, and now we can just move up, hopefully, with the armored divisions tomorrow. straight up into Cherbourg. A lot of enemy artillery pounding the line here over the left. This main highway is probably the avenue of advance of both divisions. $122, okay. All right, how are we doing supply-wise? Pretty much back to full for both of these guys. So we are going to do a two-pronged breakthrough offensive. One of these divisions will go up this road, pushing through the heart of the enemy to get to the objective point. The other division is going to push just to the right. Right through the heart of the enemy defense. All right. Let's see what this day brings. Two armored divisions trying to break through the bulk of what looks like is left of the enemy's strength here. I don't really have a lot of time if this doesn't work to keep coming back for more. It's a thick enemy line here. Probably should have done some bombardment or preparation work. They don't seem to be going anywhere. My boys are waving the flags. They're not in good shape. That is a strong enemy line to try and break through. Alright. Maybe that was a bad idea. Alright. We've got one more day to spare. So let's rest and refit. And then we will do a complex attack. Let's also have the artillery for the 3rd Canadian launch kind of like an all-day barrage. It'd be nice if they could launch an all-day barrage. Archer and I both. These guys, it looks like the enemy must be in hold the line mode too, because there is not a very strong position against them. But I would like to do an all-day barrage, pretty much, while my armor refits. Because if I learned anything from World War I, it's that artillery barrages by themselves will break the enemy. And so the armor's going to pull back just slightly to refit. Okay. Took a little bit of time for those units to pull off the line. I think we actually have 2 days, so we could wait one more day. Alright. Is there one armored unit here that's behind the lines? 20 units are cut from supply? How? I don't understand. How are they cut off from supply? Only 11 casualties today, huh? Okay. See if we can get to the objective. Both the armored divisions are back to good supply. Alright, let's see what happens. Some of those enemy units do have white flags, or one or two of them. It's quite a density of enemy troops here. I think part of my issue here is I think I may have waited too long and allowed the enemy to dig in too thoroughly. Complex attack is coming in now. It looks like it's doing a little better. Like it's not rushing through the enemy line or anything. But it didn't just run into a brick wall. It did push some of the enemy troops back. But yeah, I think they're just too packed in here. I think I waited too long. As bad as I did the other day, I still won and took the objective. Here, this doesn't feel quite so good. It's less haphazard, but it's much slower. I am taking the roads. I'm going up the main roadway anyway. I guess I'm just trusting that the complex attack order uses the roadways. Abandon everything. Push toward the objective. Infantry attack the flanks. Armor, keep doing your thing. I did pull the infantry off the line, which is going to cause a bit of a bulge here to show up. You can see the enemy pushing us back a little bit. I think it's too late. If we had another day, I think we'd get there. The infantry on the left is having success. But we're not going to get to the actual objective point. Victory? Serious setback for Allied. This doesn't make sense. Troops victorious in Cherbourg. Serious setback for Allied forces. Excuse me? Enemy captured 858, I think, or is this 5,000? 8,582. So we captured the whole enemy force. We lost 1,200 men less. Well, so they lost what? Let's do this. What's this? So the enemy lost 8,582 men. We lost 4,400 Canadians and 2,800 British. So we lost 7,200 men. That's 1,300 men less. That's a meaningful amount less. Troops lost by category. 7,300 casualties. 1,800 surrendered. Those numbers don't add up. Okay. Yeah, those numbers don't add up. 3rd Canadian did the most dying. 4th Canadian Armored 2nd. 3rd Infantry 3rd. Actually, Guards Armored 3rd. I like the graphs and the charts. Those are cool. Gave me a D. But it didn't progress us to the next mission. So to me, that says we failed. But we had fun doing it, right? But listen, who's really on a timetable? Who's the one saying we failed? I mean, what does it matter if it takes an extra day? It's interesting because I actually won when I live streamed this for the sponsored video, and it was way more haphazard and chaotic than what you saw here. This attempt was maybe an overreaction the other direction, trying to be more cautious, trying to be more sort of realistic in how we push the enemy. You know, I'll probably play that battle again offline and win it. I know I can. I have done it. And then we'll look at, you know, proceeding further down the campaign line. I don't see any reason, though, not to show you failure. I think it's worthwhile looking at the mechanics, about how the game works, about the experience would look like, and frankly, how you can lose, because no great strategy game has you win every time. Frankly, I find watching videos of people being perfect at games boring, and maybe that colors my own willingness to fail. But you don't grow if you don't fail. So get your grind set on. I don't know, what are some other nonsensical things I can say? But hey, enough of me rambling. Let's go ahead and wrap this up here. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Leave your thoughts below. And with that being said, until next time, this is the Historical Gamer saying thank you for watching, and I'm out.